It all started one night when I was feeling adventurous and decided to delve into the mysterious realm of the dark web. I had heard the rumors and warnings, but I couldn't resist the allure of the unknown. As I navigated through the hidden corners of the internet, I stumbled upon a website that promised access to forbidden knowledge and secrets beyond imagination. With trembling hands, I clicked on the link, unsure of what I would find. The memory sends shivers down my spine. What greeted me was a nightmare beyond comprehension. Images and videos of unspeakable horrors flashed before my eyes, scenes of violence, torture, and depravity that left me paralyzed with fear. But it didn't end there. As I tried to navigate away from the site, I received a chilling message from an anonymous user. They knew my name, my address, details about my life that I had never shared online. I tried to ignore the messages, but they grew more insistent and menacing. They threatened to expose my darkest secrets, to unleash unimaginable horrors upon me and my loved ones if I didn't comply with their demands. Desperate to escape, I shut down my laptop and retreated into the safety of my room. But the fear lingered, a shadow that loomed over me wherever I went. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, that something sinister was lurking in the shadows. And then one night as I lay in bed trying to sleep, I heard a sound. A faint scratching at my window. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest as I listened to the ominous noise growing louder and close. I gathered up the courage to approach the window and peek outside. What I saw sent a chill down my spine, a dark figure lurking in the shadows, its eyes gleaming with malice as it reached out towards me with long, gnarled fingers. I fled from the window, my heart pounding in my ears as I barricaded myself in my room, but that wasn't the end. The scratching went on for hours. I could hear knocking at different windows and doors. I ended up calling the cops and they searched around my house but couldn't find the culprit that was lurking in the shadows around my home. Thank goodness I make sure all doors are locked at night. I prayed for morning to come and banish the darkness that threatened to consume me. I learned after that to never explore the dark web again. I haven't had any more issues since, but I get this gloomy feeling at night as if I'm still being watched. And so, I learned the hard way that some secrets are better left buried and some doors are better left unopened. The dark web is a realm of nightmares, a place where darkness reigns and evil lurks in the shadows, waiting to ensnare unsuspecting souls like mine. It all started when I heard about the dark web from a friend. He said it was the place to go if you wanted to buy things you couldn't get anywhere else. Being a bit curious and maybe a bit reckless, I decided to check it out. I fired up my laptop and opened the Tor browser, feeling a rush of excitement mixed with a bit of fear. I navigated through the maze of websites and stumbled upon a marketplace where you could buy all sorts of things, including drugs. I hesitated for a moment, wondering if I should go through with it, but the temptation was too strong, and before I knew it, I was placing an order for some pills that I couldn't find anywhere else. The transaction went smoothly, and a few days later a package arrived at my doorstep. I ripped it open eagerly, feeling a surge of adrenaline as I held the pills in my hand. I couldn't believe I had actually done it, but as I was about to pop one of the pills, a sense of unease washed over me. I had read stories about people getting caught buying drugs on the dark web, and suddenly, I felt paranoid. What if someone was watching me? What if the package was a setup? I shook off the feeling and decided to take the pill anyway, but as soon as I swallowed it, I felt a wave of dizziness wash over me. My heart started racing and I stumbled backwards, feeling like I was being pulled into a dark abyss. I tried to call for help, but my words came out slurred and unintelligible. Panic gripped me as I realized something was seriously wrong. I stumbled to the bathroom and splashed water on my face, hoping to snap out of whatever trance I was in. But as I looked at myself in the mirror, I saw something that made my blood run cold. My reflection was distorted, twisted into a grotesque caricature of myself. It grinned at me maliciously, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. I screamed and stumbled backwards, tripping over the rug and falling to the ground. I scrambled to my feet and ran out of the bathroom, but everywhere I looked, I saw twisted, nightmarish versions of reality. I stumbled through the darkened hallway, feeling like I was trapped in a never-ending nightmare. I could hear voices whispering in my ear, telling me horrible things. I tried to block them out, but they echoed in my mind, driving me to the brink of madness. And then, just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, I heard a voice behind me. It was low and guttural, like the sound of something ancient and evil. I turned around slowly, my heart pounding in my chest. Standing before me was a figure cloaked in darkness, its eyes burning with a malevolent light. It grinned at me, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth, and reached out with clawed hands. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. I stumbled backwards, feeling like I was about to be consumed by the darkness. And then, everything went black. When I woke up, I was lying on the floor of my apartment, drenched in sweat and shaking uncontrollably. It took me a moment to realize that it had all been a nightmare, a twisted hallucination brought on by the drugs I had taken. I stumbled to my feet and made my way to the bathroom, splashing water on my face and trying to shake off the feeling of dread that still lingered in the pit of my stomach. I vowed never to touch drugs again, especially not ones bought on the dark web. But as I looked at myself in the mirror, I saw something that made my blood run cold. My reflection was still twisted and distorted, its eyes glowing with a malevolent light. And as I stared into those soulless eyes, I realized that the nightmare was far from over. It had only just begun.
It all started one rainy night when my friends and I stumbled upon a mysterious website on the dark web. We had heard rumors about a game that promised to fulfill our deepest desires, and being young and foolish, we couldn't resist the temptation to try it out. My friend Kevin clicks on the link and the website opens, revealing a simple interface with a single button labeled Begin. We all look at each other nervously before my other friend Marcus reaches out and clicks the button. As soon as Marcus clicked, the screen flickered and went black for a moment before a message appeared, welcoming us to the game. It asked each of us to enter our deepest desire, promising to grant it in exchange for completing a series of challenges. We all excitedly type in our desires, ranging from wealth and fame to love and power. We eagerly await the next instructions, with our eyes glued to the screen. The game then presented us with our first challenge, to complete a series of tasks within a set time limit. At first, the tasks seemed harmless enough, like solving riddles or completing puzzles, but as we progressed, the challenges became more sinister and dangerous. Kevin hesitates, but we urge him to continue, convincing him that it's just a game. He presses on, his curiosity overpowering his sense of caution. We soon realized that there were rules to the game, and breaking them came with deadly consequences. One by one, we watched as our deepest desires turned into nightmares, twisting and distorting until they became our worst fears. Marcus screams as he is confronted with something unimaginable. We then realize the horror as we figure out the true nature of the game. We try to exit the website, but find ourselves trapped, unable to escape. Panic sets in as we frantically try to find a way out, but the game seems to have a hold on us, pulling us deeper into its dark and twisted world. We plead for mercy, but the game shows none, taunting us with our fears and insecurities. We then realize that we are running out of time. We know that if we don't find a way out soon, we will be trapped in the game forever. And then, just when we thought it couldn't get any worse, the screen flickers and goes black, leaving us in darkness. We hear a sinister laughter echoing around us, and a chill runs down my spine as I realize that we are not alone. The screen fades to black as the sound of laughter fades into the distance. We huddle together in fear, unsure of what to do next. Suddenly, the screen lights up again, illuminating the room with an eerie glow. Our eyes widen in horror as we see a message on the screen, written in blood-red letters. "Congratulations, you have completed the game. But remember, there is always a price to pay for your desires." Before we can react, the room begins to shake violently, as if the very walls are closing in on us. We scream in terror as the floor beneath us starts to crack and crumble, threatening to swallow us whole. One by one, we are dragged into the darkness, our cries echoing in the empty room. I am the last one left standing, trembling with fear as I figure out the true horror of the game. As I stand there, alone and terrified, I realize that we were never meant to win the game. It was a trap, a twisted game of fate designed to lure in unsuspecting victims and devour their souls. The screen flickers one last time before going dark, leaving me alone in the darkness. The sound of sinister laughter echoes in the empty room, a chilling reminder of the deadly consequences of playing with fire. And as I stand there, surrounded by darkness and despair, I know that I will never escape the horrors of the dark web game. For once you enter, there is no turning back. Never play the desire game.
I always had a knack for uncovering secrets. So when I heard whispers about a secret society lurking in the depths of the dark web, I knew I had to investigate. It was risky, but I was determined to expose their criminal activities and bring them to justice. I started by creating a fake identity and lurking in dark corners of the internet, looking for any hint of the society's existence. It wasn't long before I stumbled upon a mysterious forum, filled with cryptic messages and strange symbols. I knew I was onto something big. As I delved deeper into the forum, I uncovered a network of criminals operating under the guise of a secret society. They were involved in everything from human trafficking to drug smuggling, and I knew I had to act fast before they could do any more harm. Armed with my newfound knowledge, I started gathering evidence to expose the society's crimes. But the deeper I dug, the more I realized that they were onto me. My every move was being watched, and I could feel their eyes following me wherever I went. Despite the danger, I pressed on, determined to bring the society to justice. But as I got closer to the truth, I realized that they would stop at nothing to protect their secrets. They sent threats, hacked into my computer, and even tried to intimidate me in person. I knew I was in over my head, but I couldn't turn back now. I had come too far to let fear stop me. So, I continued my investigation, gathering evidence and exposing their crimes to the world. But just when I thought I had finally won, the society struck back with a vengeance. They kidnapped me, tortured me, and threatened to kill me if I didn't stop digging. I was terrified, but I refused to give up. In the end, it was a close call. I narrowly escaped with my life, but the scars, both physical and emotional, would haunt me forever. I had uncovered the society's secrets, but at what cost? As I sit here typing this story, I can't help but feel a sense of dread. The society may be gone, but their legacy lives on, a reminder of the darkness that lurks in the shadows of the dark web. And as for me, well, I'll never be the same again. The nightmares still haunt me, and I can't shake the feeling that they're still out there, watching, waiting. But I won't let fear control me. I'll continue to fight for justice, to uncover the truth no matter the cost, because even in the darkest of times, there's always a glimmer of hope. It all started when I stumbled upon a mysterious link while browsing the dark web. Curiosity got the best of me, and I clicked on it, expecting nothing more than a few cheap thrills. But what I found was something far more sinister. The webpage was plain and simple with just a single message: experience a reality like no other. Intrigued, I clicked on the link and was immediately transported into a virtual world unlike anything I had ever seen. At first, it was exhilarating. The graphics were stunning, the gameplay was immersive, and I felt like I was truly living in another reality. I spent hours exploring this virtual world, forgetting about the real world outside. But as time went on, I started to notice something strange. The lines between the virtual world and reality began to blur, and I found myself losing touch with what was real and what wasn't. I would spend days on end inside the game, neglecting my responsibilities and ignoring the world around me. I became obsessed, unable to tear myself away from the virtual world no matter how hard I tried. It was like I was addicted, craving the rush of adrenaline and excitement that the game provided. But then, things started to take a dark turn. I began to notice glitches in the game. Strange anomalies that shouldn't have been there. Shadows moved where they shouldn't, and I could swear I heard whispers in the darkness. I tried to brush it off as my imagination, but the glitches only grew worse. I started seeing things that shouldn't have been possible, creatures lurking in the shadows and watching me with malevolent eyes. I knew I had to escape, but the game wouldn't let me leave. Every time I tried to log out, I was met with an error message trapping me inside the virtual nightmare. I was terrified, trapped in a world that was slowly driving me insane. I didn't know what was real anymore, and I feared that I would never escape. And then, just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, I encountered the final boss. It was a monstrous creature, towering over me with glowing red eyes and razor-sharp claws. I fought with all my might, but it was no use. The creature was too powerful, and I was no match for it. With a final roar, it lunged at me, and everything went black. When I woke up, I was back in the real world, my body covered in sweat and my heart pounding in my chest. I stumbled to my feet, shaking uncontrollably as I realized that I had narrowly escaped death. But as I looked around, I realized that I wasn't alone. The creature from the game was standing before me, its eyes glowing with hunger as it reached out with clawed hands. I screamed and ran, but I knew that I could never truly escape. I was trapped in a nightmare of my own making, doomed to wander the dark corners of the virtual world for all eternity. And as the creature closed in on me, ready to claim its prize, I knew that my fate was sealed.